You think you know me?
There's a fear of a nightfall when darkness comes and covers all.
Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now, there's a 3 million drug addicts. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them.
The Philippines, with its geographical position and proximity to Southeast Asian and East Asian countries, has become a hub for international drug trade and production. The most widely produced drug in the country, methamphetamine, commonly known as shabu, has caused a drug epidemic across the Philippines. After assuming office in 2016, President Rodrigo Duterte has waged a relentless violent war on drugs to combat the drug networks, marked by extrajudicial killings, allegations of police corruption, and an age of terror in the Philippines. Now, we are about to cover the Philippine drug trade, the activities of the drug syndicates, violent law enforcement methods to curb the drug trade, and the societal consequences that have unfolded in the wake of Duterte's controversial campaign. The illicit drug market has thrived due to the country's long coastline, numerous islands, and limited law enforcement resources. The production of methamphetamine is often conducted in small scale laboratories and kitchen type labs. Drug syndicates, including the notorious Sinaloa and Chinese triads, have been identified as foreign players in the local drug trade. These criminal organizations establish international networks for the production, trafficking, and distribution of drugs, injecting the drugs into the Philippines in the process. The issue of drugs and its associated problems gained significant attention when Rodrigo Duterte assumed presidency in 2016. Duterte launched a highly controversial campaign against drugs with many extrajudicial killings and human rights abuses. The president and the Philippine National Police embarked on a ruthless war on drugs, which resulted in the deaths of an estimated 7,000 suspects. Under the guise of the campaign, police forces were involved in carrying out extrajudicial killings, arresting individuals without due process, and even planting evidence such as guns, ammunition, and drugs next to the murdered bodies. The exact number of casualties is uncertain, with estimates varying widely, but it is believed to be in the thousands. Many of the victims were not even high level drug lords or gang members, but desperate people from poor families trying to make ends meet. Critics argue that the government's focus on small scale drug users and low level dealers has allowed major drug lords and powerful syndicates to continue their operations relatively unaffected. Investigations have shown that less than 1% of the drugs in the country has been captured. Large amounts of drugs continue to flow into the country and market demand remains high. Rodrigo Duterte was previously the mayor of Davao City for more than 2 decades, where he started his violent methods of crushing drugs. The Davao Death Squad killed hundreds of drug users, street children, and other petty criminals. Duterte's outspoken vow to embark on a nationwide killing campaign against drug dealers and drug users was the foundation of his presidential electoral platform and electoral campaign. Duterte and his congressional allies have also harassed and intimidated domestic critics of his campaign, most notably Senator Leila de Lima, the chair of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights, who had launched an investigation in August 2016 regarding the killings. She was stripped of her position by the Senate committee using fake testimonies. Rodrigo Duterte's approach to addressing the drug problem in the Philippines has drawn international condemnation. His controversial statements have sparked outrage and raised concerns about human rights abuses. In an annual meeting of UN Correspondents Association, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said, I unequivocally condemn his apparent endorsement of extrajudicial killing, which is illegal and a breach of fundamental rights and freedoms. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court also said any person in the Philippines who incites or engages in acts of mass violence, including by ordering, requesting, encouraging, or contributing in any other manner to the commission of crimes within the jurisdiction of the ICC, is potentially liable to prosecution before the court. However, countries like China and Russia openly supported Duterte's anti-drug murder campaign. China aiming to exploit tensions caused between US and Philippines over the war on drugs, has expressed explicitly to the new administration about China's willingness for cooperation for Philippines' war on drugs. This is clearly to form better diplomatic relations with the Philippines. The drug problem in the Philippines is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. It involves addressing not only the supply side with the efforts to dismantle drug syndicates, fighting corruption, and disrupt the production and trafficking of drugs, but also the demand side with a focus on prevention, improving quality of life, education, and rehabilitation. It is important to enforce the law while protecting human rights, ensuring that the most vulnerable members of society are not unjustly targeted while holding those responsible for drug related crimes accountable through a fair and transparent legal process. Thank you.
Trabajo nosotros, no hay que otro de a trabajar de aquí porque no hay, digamos que no hay otro chamba, pues solamente de eso, para vivimos, para comemos.
My topic is Mexican cartels, the persistent threat to security and stability. I want to draw your attention to a grave and pervasive issue that has been plaguing Mexico and beyond Mexican cartels. The historical background of Mexican cartels reveals their transformation from bootlegging during Prohibition to becoming a powerful drug trafficking enterprises. They have expanded their criminal activities, engaging in drug smuggling, money laundering, and human trafficking. The consequences of their actions are dire. Drug trafficking fuels addiction, violence, and innocent civilians bear the brunt of their brutal turmoil, living in fear and insecurity. Corruption further aggravates the problem as some officials are compromised by cartel money and threats, undermining the rule of law and trust in institutions. It also emphasizes the need for a comprehensive approach to address this menace. Collaboration between Mexico and the international community is crucial to combat the transnational nature of the drug trade. To effectively combat drug trafficking, we must enhance intelligence sharing, disrupt money laundering networks, and bolster law enforcement efforts. Addressing the demand for illegal drugs in consuming countries is equally vital to reduce the cartel profitability. Additionally, we must tackle the root causes that contribute to their growth, such as poverty and lack of opportunities. By investing in education and social programs, we can offer alternatives and deter vulnerable individuals from joining their ranks. In conclusion, Mexican cartels is a call of action. We cannot remain indifferent to the suffering caused by these criminal organizations. So let us all stand united in our efforts to disrupt their operations, protect our communities, and work towards a safer and more stable future for all. Thank you.
So let's discuss about cartel wars and how it affects different regions. So we'll discuss about what are these wars, how they happen, and what are the terrible effects that talk about cartel wars. Cartel wars happen when illegal groups fight for an illegal trade route or market. These groups make and sell drugs such as cocaine and heroin, and they want to be on top of the world. So why do cartels form? Cartel forms because they want to make a lot of money by selling drugs. Poor people or people from poor areas see it as an area or a source to escape from poverty. So what happens in cartel wars? So cartel wars have terrible consequences. They cause a lot of violence, like killings and kidnappings, making places more dangerous for everyone. Cartels also get in the government and causing corruption more frequently in the system. So how do we fight these cartels? Government and other groups around the world are trying hard to fight these cartels. Police work hard, laws are being made to punish them. Countries help each other to fight against and punish these bad guys. Also, government helps to find better opportunities for poor people to not to join these cartels. So let us talk about a case study, the Mexican drug war. It is an ongoing event which started in the late 2000s. The root causes include high demand for illegal drugs, poverty, and corruption. So, this has resulted in a large amount of violence, which include kidnapping and assassinations. With continuous dedication and support, the government can reduce the violence and provide a safer environment for the civilians to live. Thank you.
Take your drug, mix it up in the syringe, and you search for a vein and pump it in.
Good morning, friends. My topic is drug trade in India. This illicit activity has grown into a formidable challenge, endangering the well-being of our citizens, particularly the youth, and undermining the progress we strive for as a society. The drug trade has permeated every corner of our country, spreading like a malignant disease. It preys on the vulnerable, exploiting their weaknesses and leaving them trapped in the vicious cycle of addiction and despair. Families are torn apart, dreams are shattered, and lives are lost. As this epidemic continues to wreak havoc in our communities, not only does the drug trade wreak havoc on individuals, but also poses a severe threat to our national security. The proceeds from drug trafficking often fuel organized crime and terrorist activities, destabilizing our society and endangering the safety of our citizens. We cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that drug abuse contributes to an increase in crime rates, further burdening our already overstretched law enforcement agencies. It is incumbent upon all of us as responsible citizens to take a collective stand against this menace. We must strengthen our borders, enhance intelligence, and collaborate with neighboring nations to prevent the inflow of narcotics. Awareness campaigns must be intensified to educate our youth about the grave consequences of drug abuse. We must also prioritize rehabilitation and treatment for those who already ensnared in the clutches of addiction by providing them with compassionate support and access to a quality health care. We can pave the way for their recovery and successfully reintegration to society. Furthermore, our lawmakers must enact strict laws and ensure effective prosecution to dismantle the drug trade's infrastructure. In conclusion, the drug trade in India is an urgent problem that requires immediate and sustained action. Together, we can combat this menace by raising awareness, strengthening our borders, providing rehabilitation, and enacting tougher laws. Let us stand united in our resolve to build a drug-free India, where our youth can thrive and our society can flourish. Thank you.
Today, I present a report on the profound impact of drugs on society. Drug abuse is a global crisis that extends far beyond individual health concerns. The consequences of drug use are devastating, affecting families, communities, and economies worldwide. At the individual level, drugs wreak havoc on physical and mental health. They lead to addiction, impair cognitive functions, and weaken the body's immune system, leaving users vulnerable to various diseases and even death. Beyond the personal toll, drugs contribute to a surge in crime rates. Desperate individuals may resort to theft, violence, and other illegal activities to sustain their addiction, posing a threat to public safety and burdening law enforcement agencies. Moreover, drug abuse carries significant economic implications. Healthcare systems face increased costs due to medical treatments for drug-related illnesses and injuries. Productivity declines in workplaces with employees struggling with addiction and hampering economic growth. Families are deeply affected as well. Relationships suffer, children are raised in unstable environments, and a cycle of addiction can persist across generations. To combat this issue, we must prioritize prevention and education, empowering individuals to make informed decisions. Rehabilitation and support should be readily available to those in need. Stricter drug policies combined with rehabilitative approaches can make a difference in breaking the cycle of drug abuse. Together, let us work tirelessly to raise awareness, support those affected, and advocate for effective policies. By uniting against drugs, we can create a healthier, safer, and brighter future for all. Thank you.
Yeah. She wanna steal my life.
You think
She
you
wanna steal
know me?
my life, yeah.
ഈ പാസ് ഓർ ഫെയിൽ സബ്ജക്റ്റിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് എന്തിനാടോ നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങനെ കഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നത്? അവിടെ തിങ്ങിക്കല്ലട